out to the right, caught over the middle, and into.
He's at the 45. Are you kidding? He's gonna go!
Brady gets hit, the ball is out. Philadelphia has
it. What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to NFL Turf Talk here on DSM Media's YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter channel. I am one half of your host today, Dylan Davis. You can find me on Twitter at DylanJD98. To my right, my faithful co-host, Scotty. Check him out on Twitter as well, at Scotty Drown. And you can find all of our content on DSM Media's Twitter, at DSM_media. Click the link tree in our bio to take it to every social media platform we are available on. As always, head on over to the YouTube channel specifically. We greatly appreciate it if you guys can hit that subscribe button, like this video, whatever you got to do. We are trying to continue to grow on YouTube. Scotty, another Thursday edition. No, for everybody that's going to be commenting, we are not live. So if we are not pulling up your comments, don't worry. We will get to them on Sunday. But we have another good Thursday night matchup to get into later on in the show. The Baltimore Ravens, Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Both teams maybe not playing up to expectation so far, but the Ravens are coming off a win. The Bucs coming off an embarrassing loss to the Panthers. We have a Monday night massacre to go over with the Chicago Bears and the New England Patriots. The Bill Belichick-led New England Patriots starting two quarterbacks. That's one way to go about it. And then we'll also have our updated power rankings to discuss in the middle of today's show, always, as we do here on Thursdays. What's going on, man?
Hey man, I'm not too much going on today. Obviously, we had to pre-record. My bad, obviously nothing a bad, I guess you could say. I'm going to a concert tomorrow night, so we got to get this in early.
What concert?
It's an Arcade Fire concert. I don't know if you're familiar. It's like a rock band, but
no, I'm not.
I get into alternatives from time to time, but yes, it is an Arcade Fire concert. We're going to DC, so it should be fun. Okay. We'll get some dinner afterwards, but definitely wanted to get in here, get this content in, because I know next week I'm going to be gone. In Miami.
Mr. Worldwide.
I know. It sucks I'm missing all this content because it feels like I'm just now getting caught up with like NBA coming in, and then obviously we have the Phillies and then NFL on top of everything. So it's been a big adjustment for me. I imagine it's been the same for you with like baseball in October. It just loads up our plate.
Yeah. And having a different priority, right? Like football right now, the Eagles, and as great as the Eagles are, like we have an undefeated season on our hands with a very good shot to go 7-0 this Sunday. And it's like, man, that's not even priority number one right now. Priority number one, I'm focused on winning a World Series title. But
absolutely,
you're right, man. But here's the thing about this show. Not only like we did Sunday's show and it kind of the energy wasn't there, right? Because the Phillies were playing game 5 of the NLCS, right? It's not just the Phillies now. It's just how this football season is going. It's draining me, man. It is these games, the lack of. I have no idea what's going to happen week to week, game to game, quarter to quarter in this league this year. And it will start with Monday night is exactly what I'm talking about. Now, these are two very bad teams. Well, not very bad teams, I should say, but the New England Patriots were finding ways to win. But we didn't think they were very talented, obviously, on the offensive side of the ball. They're lacking there. The Bears with their passing issues and the lack of skill position players around Justin Fields and all of that. And the Patriots come in 8.5-point favorites at home in Foxborough. Yeah. Bill Belichick, defensive-minded head coach, maybe the greatest of all time to do it, finds ways to slow down and shut down Aaron Rodgers and all these great quarterbacks. I'm thinking, you know what? The Pats might cover tonight. No way Justin Fields is moving the ball. No, Scotty. The Bears dropped 30-plus in a blowout win on Monday night as 8.5-point dogs. I don't know what's going on this year. So please help me out. What's happening? What happened Monday night?
The Bears dropped 30-plus on the Patriots in Foxborough. Like, are we joking right now? It's exactly what you said. Because, like, we get to the Sunday slate, and it's, like, overwhelming. Because I'm sitting here, like, teetering on each game. Like, I don't know. A 10-point spread. I don't know. The Bucs were, 10.5, 11.5-point spreads over the Panthers. And I'm sitting here like, the Panthers have no shot. They just got their head coach fired. They just traded CMC. They're shopping all their players. No, they come out and dominate the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Like, it's ridiculous, man, at this point. And I'm with you because, like, the energy, how can I confidently pick a game if it's not
horrible.
Bills,
I haven't
Chiefs, or
tallied.
Eagles? You know what I mean?
I'm glad we haven't kept a full tally on game by games this week because I can't imagine what my specific record looks like. And I like to think in the past, this is the sport I'm most knowledgeable about. The NFL is the one I got the best grasp on, right? Game to game. No, I have no idea.
God, man. It's crazy. And you can probably just take a look at my bet slips and see all the wrong picks I've made over the last couple of weeks because it's been ridiculous. But this was just another game. You had the 3-4 Bears playing the 3-4. No, 3-4. They were 2-4 playing the 3-3 Patriots. Both teams 3-4 now. You mentioned 2 starting quarterbacks for the Patriots. I was watching this game right on the side. Obviously, I think there was obviously something else on Monday night, but I was watching this game on the side, and all of a sudden I just hear Bailey Zappe's coming in, and it was like very early in the game, and I just thought because by that time Mac Jones is 3 for 6, 13 yards, 0 touch. 1 interception, throws an interception very early in that game. And how about Bill Belichick? He said, screw it, dog. Like, we're going with Bailey Zappe. I don't know. Do you think that is the right move, man? Like, we talked about it a little bit before the game. I didn't think it was going to play out like that. I literally did not think that Mac Jones would get pulled in the first quarter for Bailey Zappe. How do you move forward with this? Do you have to start Zappe, right? Like, do you put Mac Jones back out there to start next week?
Do you want to know why this is such a stupid move by maybe the GOAT?
Yeah.
This is a desperation move early on in the game. Your you can't move the ball. He's 3 of 6, 13 yards, already turned the ball over a bit, right? But that's something a team does with a short leash on a quarterback that has high expectations. That has playoff expectations, maybe Super Bowl expectations. Maybe they're not sold on the quarterback and they have a reliable backup. This is a dude that you were trying to groom to be the next franchise quarterback in New England.
Yeah.
You are not a very talented team, regardless of what your 500 record said heading into the week. You should know that Nelson Aguilar and Jacoby Myers and Devontae Parker aren't going to get it done. So why have the shortest of all leashes for the guy you're trying to get ready to be the franchise quarterback in Mac Jones? And then Bailey Zappe comes in, and he's able to move the ball. He's 14 to 22, 185 yards, threw a pass and touchdown. He threw 2 picks as well, dude. Like
where do you go?
He fumbled as well. I'm pretty sure New England had 5 turnovers on Monday night. So I don't know. Like the move is definitely odd, and obviously Zappe had them playing decent football the 2 previous weeks or whatever, or the 3 previous weeks. The bottom line is like, what do you give him? What do you give him, Scotty? 2 possessions?
Yeah, 2 possessions. I think it was 2 possessions exactly is what they gave Mac Jones.
And did you see the video that was released on Twitter today of his interception?
No, I didn't.
You didn't see it?
No, I didn't see it. What happened?
He was trying to throw the ball away, and it hit the cable wire from the camera.
No way.
And it changed. I swear to God. And it changes the direction back into play. I'll see if I can find it
for this, man. Oh my God.
Let me see if I can.
How do you go back? And they have to, right? You have to go back to Mac Jones.
Well, you should. Well, that's my point.
Double down on your mistake. You can't double down and keep Zappe in. I mean,
let me share my screen for you here. This is crazy, bro.
That is insane, man.
Ready for this?
Yeah.
See it?
Yeah. I wonder if that has ever happened before.
How wild is that?
How do we know that is not happening more often? Isn't that so
right?
weird?
But
you know what I mean?
Someone picked it up. So the guy who tweeted it out was basically like, for what it's worth, I thought he was trying to throw the ball away on this play. And then I don't know where he found it, but a lot of media people were quote tweeting it and talking about it earlier this morning. So it caught my eye, but I was just like, wow, man. Like, and you're right. Like if that's the fact, if that's one of the big factors into him being pulled because they're not moving the ball and he turns the ball over, like
that's really
messed up.
That's really bad. That's really bad, man.
So we talked a lot about this Patriots team, right? They only scored 14 points. They get blown out at home. But I mean, it's not like Justin Fields threw the hell out of the ball.
No.
He's 13 to 21, 179 passing yards, 1 passing touchdown, threw a pick, had 4 sacks. The bottom line is he was able to use his legs in this game. 14 carries, 82 yards, scored a rushing touchdown the first of the game. And the Bears were able to move the ball as well. He averaged 6 on the ground. Herbert averaged over 5. Montgomery averaged over 4 yards per carry. So I mean that can tell you all you really need to know. They were able to run the football and they turned New England over 4 or 5 times. Sounds like a recipe for a blowout to me.
There you go. There you go. Pretty simple, man. I don't got much more left on this game. It's just going to be interesting to see the Patriots, going forward. What are they going to do? And, the Bears, I mean, good W nonetheless on the road. Are these good W's for the Bears, man? Because, what's the future behold, man? This is a bad football team. I don't care what anybody tells me.
Scott, to me, obviously you're lacking the weapon, so it's extremely hard to judge Justin Fields' arm talent and his passing ability. But this what he's doing right now, they're 3-4, finding ways to win here and there. But this was my worst vision for Jalen Hurts this season. This is what I didn't want. They're finding ways. They're 3-4. They're winning a little bit, but he doesn't look good through the air. But his legs are explode. This was the worst possible outcome for Eagles fans with Jalen Hurts is what Chicago's getting with Justin Fields. Have you seen anything? You're not a Bears fan, I'm not a Bears fan, so we can't sit here and judge too critically or judge too little. But have you seen anything from Justin Fields' arm that you're like, yes, he could be a franchise quarterback?
No, honestly, I haven't. And even the games that I've watched, it's almost – I didn't watch a ton of Justin Fields at Ohio State. I'll be honest with you. Watching Fields out there, I forget which game it was. It was when he was on Monday Night Football a couple weeks ago. And watching that game, he looked a little bit better against New England, but holds the ball. It's almost like he's a broken product from the Bears. He won't throw the ball to an open receiver. He just holds it and gets sacked. There's little things like that where I think mentally playing on a bad team like this can really disrupt his growth. But then also on top of it, I just haven't seen anything that, blows my mind. There was one pass. I don't know if you remember that from that Monday Night Football game a couple weeks. It might have been
Who
Sunday
did they
Night
play?
Football.
Or Thursday night. I think it was Thursday.
Might have been Thursday.
Washington.
Bears in Washington, yes. Yeah. And he had a wide open guy in the end zone, just lofts it. So the precision wasn't there. I don't know. It's hard to even measure Justin Fields, but I've seen nothing so far. He has great legs, right? He can run the ball like one of the best in the league, quite honestly. He's up there with Hurts and Lamar Jackson, but nothing as far as his arm talent. And, I mean, you can count on probably one hand how many 200-yard passing games he's had, which is not a lot to ask for, quite honestly, in this day and age of NFL football. 200 passing yards. I would have to go back and look at what he averages. I would imagine it's around 160, 150. I would imagine it's at. But I'm not impressed, man. I'm not impressed by anything the Bears are doing. I think this is a solid win, but what do you work towards going forward?
Right. What's the goal here? What are we
second
tanking?
in the division?
Are we tanking? Are we trying to make the playoffs? Or are we just trying to be the 13th overall pick, 14th overall pick, and not make the playoffs? What's the end goal here for Chicago? Do they win 6 games? Congrats, you're 6-11. You're probably the 14th, 13th pick. But at the end of the day, I guess we'll have to wait and see. Scotty, let's pull up. So I do not, since this is a pre-recorded episode, have my power rankings in time. Shame on me. But we do have Scotty's, and I have my power rankings right here in my notes, so we can kind of compare. Man, I'll be honest with you. I'm looking at yours, and the only we have 2 teams that are not on mine, and that is the 9 and 10 spot. The Jets The Jets are almost there. They actually were 10th on my list until I forgot about the Vikings because they were on a bye week. So I had to text KC and be like, whoa, I need you to slide the Vikings in, slide everyone down a spot.
Yeah,
so the Jets made it off the list. Obviously, the Breece Hall injury is something you have to take into account with them as well.
Yeah.
I guess I'll tell you where I have my 10 spot. I do have the San Francisco 49ers. Now, I know they're coming off of a brutal beatdown at home against Pat Mahomes in Kansas City. That is ultimately, at the end of the day, a top 2 or 3 team in the league, one of the 3 consistent teams in the league. And I'm just projecting the offense when CMC fully gets acclimated in it.
Fair enough.
The defense gets healthier. I do think they are definitely a top 10 team when they're fully healthy. And then other than that, I have the LA Rams still in my top 10.
Okay.
So I have the Rams and the Niners. You have the Jets and the Seahawks. Again, this goes back to our conversation Sunday, right, man? Like you're starting to give these teams that we were never sold on their flowers. Now they're cracking into the top 10. And I'm holding on for one more week to these teams that I have higher hopes and higher expectations for, the Rams and the Niners. And I'm one more loss away from having them knocked out, and the Seahawks climbing in with Geno Smith or the Jets climbing in with Zach Wilson, right? But other than that, the rest of our list are actually eerily similar, Scotty.
Yeah, I know for a fact my top 6 did not move this week. Like I just didn't change them at all.
Yeah,
obviously,
I did.
Bills, Eagles, Vikings, they had bye weeks, so I didn't feel the need to move them up or down.
Correct.
Kansas City, New York, and Dallas all got W's, Kansas City being the most impressive. So I did have Kansas City up there. I'm looking at that Dallas spot. I mean, 6, 7, 8, those teams are probably all on the same plane for me.
That same tier, yeah. I would probably lump Minnesota into them as well. I know Minnesota has the better record, but
maybe even 4 as well.
Yeah. If we're being if
4 through 8,
Scotty, if we're keeping it a buck, 4 is probably 8 in terms of like who I think talent wise is a better team. But I have to give 4 their flowers now. So my middle of the pack is different because I did not promote the Cowboys and the Giants as heavily as you did in the previous week. Fair. Here's the top of my list. So I still have the Eagles 1, Bills 2, Chiefs 3. Same as you. We just had the Bills and Eagles flip-flopped as always. The Giants are 4 as well for me. Minnesota's 5 as well. Cowboys are 6 as well. And then I have I have the Ravens and Bengals 7, 8. So we are identical.
All the way down through 8.
Outside the Bills and Eagles, and then 9 and 10, we have different teams.
Yeah, and I had to get the Bengals back in there. You had them back in last week, which I kind of picked up where you left off, adding them back in this week. They deserve it at this point, especially against the rest of the field. I think that's where, there's teams that we all could shout onto this screen, right? But you have to go and just look at the rest of the field and what we're working with here. Like next up, aside from Rams and San Fran, the Tennessee Titans?
Yeah, the Titans, right?
That have got
Miami could probably make that argument with Tua
Miami was another one I had on my honorable mentions list. Just need to see them with Tua more, right? See it again. Now he's coming back from the injury. But the Seahawks, the reason I put the Seahawks up there, I figured I had to give them some respect at the end of the day. They are leading the NFC West right now. They took care of the Chargers. They didn't just beat them. They beat them by double digits. It never really was a game in that game. And they made the Chargers look silly. Now, over the next few weeks, we'll find out if that was more Seahawks or was that more Chargers just being frauds. Right. Because the Chargers look bad right now. That's one thing. They're not on the list, but I wanted to mention them because I had them on this list out of potential for the last couple weeks.
Hey, I had them at 4.
They probably shouldn't have been, right?
Yeah.
And I had them there out of potential, and it's just not playing out the way that I want to see it. The New York Jets, they got another W. They're 5-2 now. They did lose Breece Hall. That did weigh into my perception of them.
Yeah.
But
I think
James
they're
Robinson,
in trouble now.
That's solid.
Well,
James
actually,
Robinson, but it's not as good as Breece Hall. It's not as good as your young stud running back. He was looking like I'm not even trying to size him up because he's injured now, but he was looking like a Saquon-esque type of back, where you can get him the ball in all different types of ways and take over a game. So that's going to be a huge loss. But I'm still going to give the Jets their flowers for now. They host New England this upcoming week. We'll see how they play with them. Zach Wilson. I mean, I'm not impressed, man.
That's the problem with me, right? That's my holdback on the Jets is they are struggling through the air, dude.
Yeah.
Zach Wilson is struggling. They struggled mightily against the
Joe
Broncos.
Flacco looked better, man. It's weird.
I'm serious. And then the Breece Hall. Now the James Robinson pickup, you still have Michael Carter. They should be able to still run the ball, but Breece Hall wasn't just a 25 per carry guy. They got him the ball out of the backfield a lot. He could line up outside, and they were hitting him down the sideline for a long touchdown. He was doing a lot of different things for their offense. He was the focal point of it. Yeah, and I think you lose the focal point with your young, hopefully franchise quarterback struggling. I suspect they're going to take a hit. And normally, I know we just wrecked Bill and that defense for allowing Justin Fields to do that. But at the end of the day, when you turn the ball over 5 times, that's what's going to happen. As long as New England doesn't turn the ball over, maybe Zappy starts the whole game. I would expect Bill not to get beat down 2 weeks in a row. Yeah. And you might see Zach Wilson turn the ball over a couple times this upcoming week. So
that's a good call.
The list, man, it's getting a little easier than it was 2 or 3 weeks ago. Because I think there's a little bit more consistency to it. When you add in the Giants keep winning, the Cowboys keep winning. The Ravens don't look great, but they're winning ball games for them. Like they beat the Bengals, and they're coming off a week against the Browns here with a win. Cincinnati's starting to win a couple in a row. So there's a little bit more consistency within the top 10 that you can keep teams in.
Yeah.
But it's the same conversation I'm going to keep having.
Yeah.
There's three legitimate contenders. And you can honestly, not you, but people can argue with a wall. Because the Giants at 6-1. I'm sorry, you're not in the conversation.
Who do you think's the bigger fraud potentially between the Giants and Jets?
The Jets.
Yeah, Zach Will. I would take. I mean, I'm saying
this is
the least amount of emphasis.
Yeah.
I would take Daniel Jones over Zach Wilson right now. This is
a conversation I kind of wanted to have with you right now.
Yeah.
Notice there's a team on this list that we left around for a couple weeks, and I was begging them to lose another game to kick them off my list, and they did. It's Green Bay Packers. And what's the excuse that we keep giving Green Bay and Aaron Rodgers? The wide receivers.
Yeah.
Right? A lack of talent offensively, no chemistry. What the fuck is Daniel Jones working with? If we're being 100% right now,
I know
Aaron Rodgers has 2 receivers. If you took Allen Lazard and probably Romeo Doubs, whatever, they would be the 1 and 2 punch on the Giants offense right now. But Daniel Jones is winning games, right? They have a running back they give the ball to. You would say that the Packers have a better offensive line. You would say that the Packers have a better defense. They have a lot more money invested on the defensive side, right? So what's the excuse? Daniel effing Jones. Let me say that again. Is finding ways to be 6-1 with what's around him. But Aaron Rodgers gets the excuse of the young wide receivers around him. It's bullshit, dude.
Gotta give Daniel Jones some props and take some of those flowers away from Aaron Rodgers. You're 100% correct, because there's no excuses, right? No excuses for Tom Brady. There's no excuses for these goats that we have labeled them as.
Look what Pete Carroll's doing in Seattle with Geno.
With Geno Smith. Come on, Russell Wilson. No excuses for him either, man. You're 100% right. One game I'll be watching this weekend, not to get too ahead.
Mm-hmm.
Seattle, I believe they host the New York Giants this week.
Oh,
so I'm interested in that game. I don't know if I'm going to watch it because it's probably going to be disgusting, but I am going to keep an eye on the score nonetheless, because I am interested to see who wins that game. If they beat the Giants, where does Seattle move at that point, right? Or, vice versa. If the Giants knock them off, is that a good win at that point? It's going to lead to more questions, right?
They're not really going to get to 7-1, are they?
Are they?
This
feels like a team that could beat them. It feels like a team that could beat the Giants. And I almost feel like that's ignorant, or not ignorant, but almost disrespectful to say to the Giants, but that's just where they are in my head, right? Like they could lose to a Falcons team, I feel like.
You mean
they
Seahawks?
Just haven't. No, I'm talking about the Giants. Like they could lose to a Seahawks, to a Falcons team. Like I'm not this high on the Giants, but at the same time, I got to give them the respect that they're due at 6-1. Like I just don't think they're this ultra talented team.
No, me neither. I told you that when you pulled up your list. Listen, they're fourth because of their record, and they to their props that they've beaten Green Bay earlier in the year. They beat the Ravens, come from behind. They beat Tennessee week 1, come from behind. I got it. But if I was to pick head to head, Giants Vikings, taking the Vikings. Giants Cowboys, taking the Cowboys. Giants Ravens, taking the Ravens. Giants Bengals, taking the Bengals. So Giants ultimate, I have Rams on my list. Giants Rams, taking the Rams. Get my point. Giants Niners, taking the Niners. So they're fourth.
I'm with you.
But are they really fourth? That's the question we all have. And sadly, it's interesting because you know there's going to be 2 of your top 10s battling here.
Mm-hmm.
But it's really not a top 10. Sadly enough, you're not going to learn anything about the Giants if they win this game.
I know. Only if they lose.
Yeah. Yeah. Is that even fair to them in a sense? If they win, it's just the Seahawks, but if they lose, they lost to the Seahawks.
I know. It's where we're at in the NFL this year. It's confusing, quite honestly. We just talked through that, and that's confusing. Just me thinking back through it. So, I'm with you. It's the NFL this year. Seahawks have been impressive, so I guess I should say if the Giants beat the Seahawks, it's an impressive win. But is it better than their other wins so far? No.
Yeah, no, I'm with you, man. But all right, that's going to wrap up the updated power rankings portion of the show. Let's get into what will be tonight's matchup, Thursday Night Football, Bucs, Ravens. This is a big one, dude. And on paper, it just shouts great game. It shouts could have been potential Super Bowl matchup. Either team could come out of their respective conferences. Yeah. But sadly, at least one half of this game is coming off of possibly the worst loss of the NFL season for a favorite. And the other who had a top-heavy MVP candidate 4 weeks into the season. Lamar has fallen off, specifically in the passing game. Yeah. It's been, as a fantasy owner, trust me, I'm keeping an eye on it. The last 3 or 4 weeks, I don't know if he's gone over 200 yards passing, Scotty.
I got the numbers for you for the last 3 weeks if you want to hear them. I got them averaged out and everything for you. But last 3 weeks, 56.3% completion percentage, 168 passing yards per game. That just simply won't cut it. He has 2 total passing touchdowns, 2 interceptions, 65 rushing yards per game, and he doesn't have a rushing touchdown either. So 2 touchdowns total from Lamar Jackson in the last 2 games, because I don't think he had a touchdown against the Browns. I think those were all on the ground with Gus. I think
they might have been. He might have gotten in once.
Field goals.
Yeah.
But you're right. He may have gotten in there once, but nonetheless, not impressive. 168 passing yards. And the only reason we bring this up is because I know I was touting him at the beginning of the season.
He was in the top 3.
Yeah, passing yards. So it's disappointing to see him. And these aren't like world beater defenses either. Mm-hmm. Like these aren't the best defenses in the NFL that he's playing against. So while the Bucs are coming off a loss, Ravens are coming off a win, it still feels like the Ravens need to bounce back as well. Yeah. Like that wasn't really a win. They need to bounce back from that win as well. Yeah. So I don't know where to give the intangible factor to, right? Like the Ravens need a win. They're desperate probably. Like the Buccaneers are definitely desperate.
Lamar just needs to look alive. Lamar needs to get back to playing solid football through the air, because
looks like he hasn't gotten a contract.
Ultimately, again, if they're going to make the postseason, he needs to play like he did the first 3 or 4 weeks.
Yeah.
168 passing yards and 2 touchdowns and 2 interceptions isn't going to result in any W's in the postseason, my man.
And he's not doing it on the ground either. That's kind of the other side of it.
Yeah, 65 for a quarterback's a high average, but 65, if Lamar's only throwing for 168, you'd have to assume he's rushing for a buck, right?
Right.
Or close to it. So 65 average really isn't it either. And really not using his legs to cross the goal line isn't doing it too. But they have beaten the Bengals. They have beaten the Browns to an AFC North rivals over the last 3 weeks. So they are finding ways to win. Reversely, their opponent, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, are looking bad, playing bad, and ultimately losing ball games.
Yeah.
So to me, this one is all about them. Like it's a bonus for the Ravens if they can win this game and Lamar get out of his little slump here as a passer. But Tom Brady, Todd Bowles, this rushing defense for Tampa, these skill position players, Leonard Fournette, everybody, this needs to look like a total unit performance.
Yeah, I agree.
Play together, because if it's not, Scotty, and they lose again, sound the horn, sound the alarms, because the Buccaneers
3-5?
Yeah.
So two games below 500. Let me ask you this: is the Buccaneers being pissed off? Is that enough to like get them a W at this point? Like with them losing to the Steelers and Panthers back to back, is it enough for them to just be pissed off and win this game? You know what I mean? Like they want it, they need it more than the Ravens, but it just feels like that isn't enough. They still need to go out there and just do things differently. And something that I have written down here is leaning on Leonard Fournette. You mentioned Lenny, when you went on the spiel there. They got to lean on him, man. How many carries? Yeah, 8. So that's not going to work, man. That's not the formula for the Buccaneers. They're a physical team.
Tom throwing 52 times is not it.
Yeah, and then the defense, I mean, we can talk about it. Last week against the Carolina Panthers without CMC, 6.4 yards per carry, 173 yards on 27 attempts and 1 touchdown versus the Panthers. Just should not happen, man. 6.4 yards per carry to Foreman and Hubbard? Like, what are we doing here? I don't know if that is, injuries catching up with them, if they're just lacking motivation. That's what worries me going into this game. Like, is it enough for them to be pissed off and needing a win for them to actually get one?
So normally I say, like, don't poke the bear when it comes to Tom Brady, right? Like, do not piss Tom Brady off. Tyrann Mathieu did it 3 years ago in the Super Bowl, and look at, like, you don't do it, man. But Scotty, at the end of the day, like, if the Steelers' performance, if that loss, trailing the whole game, losing to Kenny Pickett and then Mitchell Trubisky, screaming at your offensive line, if that loss wasn't enough to have him pissed off and motivated to bounce back against Carolina, who's having a yard sale at the moment, what is, right? Like, how much is the off-the-field stuff conflicting with Tom's on-the-field performance? At the end of the day, he's a human being. So he can say he's playing till he's 50. He can say he feels great. He looks great, blah, blah, blah. If we're being honest, he looks worse every week, not just from a talent point of view. He gets on the podium and it's like he just doesn't look healthy as a human right now.
He looks stressed out.
Yeah, man. And of course, obviously he would be. And then you have AB's crazy ass on social media, just whatever.
He doesn't make anything easy for you.
No, exactly. But yeah, man, this is a total and utter must win for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and Tom Brady tonight.
I just looked, man.
Dude.
They've lost the last 4 out of 5.
Wow.
They've lost the last 4 out of 5.
Well,
so they beat Atlanta 2 weeks ago and then lost to Kansas City, obviously. But then before that, the Green Bay Packers.
Well, we say obviously as if we say obviously because they're a top 3 team, but it shouldn't be obviously when we hold Tampa Bay to that standard. They're supposed to be on that.
Like going into that game, we were calling that a game of the week, right?
Yeah.
Like, and they dropped 31 points on the Chiefs. That's what is so confusing, man. Like,
but then they scored 3 on this past week.
3, yeah. It's like you said, it's going downhill the last few weeks. Right. It's kind of like the play is just.
You look at that first play against Carolina. Like Mike Evans does not drop that ball, Scotty. Like it just doesn't happen.
Like your head's not in the game.
Yeah, what's happening from the jump, right?
Is it Bruce Arians? Like, is it Todd Bowles? Like, is there any? There's not been much conversation around that. A defensive-minded coach.
Right. What does the locker room look like? Yeah. What does the locker room look like there?
Is Bruce Arians involved at all? I know he's up in the front office, but like, is he involved in game planning at all? It doesn't seem
probably
like
not. Because I don't think they'd be throwing the ball 52 times, but who knows?
Fair enough.
Predictions for the game.
Yes.
As down And Al, as I am on Tom Brady and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers right now, it's in Tampa, correct?
It is in Tampa.
They will win the game. They've lost 4 out of 5, as you said. They've lost 2 straight to 2 very, very bad teams with backup and third-string quarterbacks playing and injuries all across the board. They're at home. They're like Julio Jones. Are you a lot? Like, is Julio Jones going to play? Is he going to keep collecting money in a
is he on the roster?
I'm so confused.
He's questionable.
Oh, duh. He's questionable every effing week.
The lot.
Stealing money, bro.
The over-under on that.
Yeah. I'll say he doesn't play. But regardless, you have Leonard Fournette. You have Chris Godwin. You have Mike Evans. Go out and move the ball efficiently and effectively. Like, we as Eagles fans know how Tom Brady can pick his way up and down a field. Just saw in the playoffs last year. There's been none of that. Just like, you know what I've seen out of Tampa Bay too, Scotty? You know what the most aggravating play on the planet to me is, whether the Eagles or any team does it?
What is
3rd and 1, 3rd and 2, and I'm going to throw a go route down the sideline for 40 yards and hope it hits. What are we doing? I've seen Tom do it a handful of times this year. What are we doing, bro? You need half a yard, and you're throwing it 45 yards down the field with a boundary on the other side of your wide receiver. What's happening here?
I cannot
Regardless, start to find your motor offensively. Run the ball with Lenny. Don't take those dumbass shots down the field when they're not there. Pick your spots. And I think that Tampa Bay gets it going. The only question mark, Scotty, is how much of an issue what is the rush defense at the moment. Because if it is, Lamar, Gus Edwards, and that Baltimore offense will exploit it. And they'll be the team moving the ball up and down the field tomorrow night or tonight.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go with the Bucs win, but that's ultimately my key for them is to limit Lamar on the ground.
And they can. That's the thing. Like, they can do that. They can be the number 1 rush defense in the NFL. Like, it's in their DNA. It just, man, this game's tough for me. You definitely present some good cases. I'm leaning Baltimore in this one, man. They're 1-point favorite on the road, which is, it shows where the Bucs are at right now. I hate to pick the Ravens. I'm just kind of going with what, my feeling here, because it is a pick 'em at the very most sense. Like you said, the Bucs have to turn that defense around. It has to start with the rush defense. You look at this Ravens defense, they are a defense that gave up 20 points to the Cleveland Browns last week with Jacoby Brissett. Yeah. You should be able to move the ball on them. I mean, this one is really tough for me, Dylan. I'm on both sides here, but I'm gonna go with the Ravens in this one. The fact that the Bucs struggled against the run against the Panthers, you hope that that's not what the Bucs defense looks like going forward. But with that in front of my face here, I'm gonna go with the Ravens. Think it's a good game for Lamar to get back on track in my mind. Like, that's kind of how I'm looking at it. But there is a world where the Bucs come out and they kind of they need to make a statement. They need to come out, shut down the run, force the Ravens to pass. If they are able to do that, are the Ravens able to kind of counter that and be able to pass the football? Mark Andrews is questionable. Rashad Bateman's questionable for the game. I would imagine they play, but how involved? Mark Andrews wasn't involved in that Cleveland game at all. That can't be the game plan, right? So it'll be interesting to see how each of these teams respond to the adversity that they've been dealt. I'm going to go with the Ravens in this one, just based on the trend, the trajectory of the team. And me just kind of thinking about the Bucs, it could just be simple as a mentality switch, a mentality flip, though. Just wanting to win. I don't know if their mind hasn't been in the game. Hopefully something could switch for them and make this a good game like it's supposed to be.
Yeah, just give me a good primetime football
Give me a good game.
Like no World Series tomorrow or Thursday. It doesn't start yet. Sixers have an off day.
Yeah.
Like, just give me a good game to sit back and
good
watch.
one, man.
I mean, I got Lamar and Mark Andrews in fantasy. So hopefully they can produce for me, even though I just picked the Bucs to win it. But we'll see who's right, Scotty. It's been a very stressful year.
What do you think a type of game it would be for the Bucs to win the game? Like what type of scoring situation do you think you would see the Bucs winning in?
Lower scoring. I'm not going to say low. I'm not saying like 17-14.
Yeah,
but
like
I
low
think
20s.
like a 23-17, a 21-17 type ball game, somewhere around that number. I think you have to try to hold Baltimore to 21 or under somehow in this game. Maybe the Bucs could win a 27-24 type game, but anything that starts to get that explosive, obviously you'll always trust the GOAT at the end of the game, but it's been a struggle so far this year. So if Lamar's able to score late or something and it's 31-27, can the Bucs move the ball efficiently down the field and score a touchdown? Scotty, that's the problem. It was not just last week. It's been all year.
Yeah.
They cannot cross the goal line. Outside of that Chiefs game, they have struggled to score 6. 5 weeks in, they had more penalties than they had, more penalties than they had touchdowns.
That's
more
insane,
turnovers
man.
than they had touchdowns, excuse me.
That's
so
insane.
Either way, it's been a problem to score 6. So I think it's a lower scoring game for sure. I think the run stopping defense for the Bucs has to show up. And we'll
if they come out with that, I could see the Bucs winning, honestly. If they come out and say, hey, we're going to run the football, we're going to kind of control time up. It's like it's kind of what we've been preaching this entire season. It's like this is football 101.
Yeah, it's not.
When your team's struggling, run the football, run the time of possession, make your team comfortable, and keep your defense off the field.
And here's the caveat to it. Especially if you're good at it. We're not saying like if you're a bad, like if you have a beat up offensive line or the 29th ranked running back, run the football down their throats, because it just doesn't work like that.
Right.
But if you know you can have success running the football, run the effing football.
Run the football. It only makes sense.
Or at least know what your identity is. Know what you're successful at. When things get tough, when the game stiffens up, what can you fall back on and get a drive going with? That's what some of these teams don't know yet. That's what the Bucs and the Packers don't know yet about themselves. But Scotty, I think that's going to wrap up this Thursday edition of NFL Turf Talk. If you have any quick plays, obviously it's a little early for the game.
Two quick ones, but I haven't laid them yet. We'll see how the injury situation plays out, and that may change one of them for me. But the first one I have plus 425. And in this one, you've already heard how confused I am on the game lines, so I'm not throwing any money lines or anything like that in there. I do have a teaser, though. I have Baltimore plus 9.5. So stay within 10, right? Like, that shouldn't be too much to ask for. I have a Lamar anytime touchdown. I mentioned, I think if the Ravens get the win in this game, he'll have one of those type of games. I have Lamar 50-plus rushing yards and Lamar 170-plus passing yards. So it's a Lamar game, and that's kind of my baseline for the Ravens. Lamar has to play like an MVP for them to win, for them to be able to score points, and I think that goes down the line for them. That's kind of the problem with their team, is that it does rely so heavily on Lamar. On the other one, I have at plus 170, I have Tampa Bay plus 9.5.
Okay.
So once again, just stay within 10. I have a Fournette touchdown, and I have a Leonard Fournette. I have Lenny written down on my paper here. I have Leonard Fournette 34.5 plus rushing yards. That's how low they have the bar set for Leonard Fournette, because he's not getting the ball. So I think give him the goddamn ball, you get the win. That's kind of my Bucs win parlay, but plus 9.5. They don't have to, for sure.
For both sides. Both sides could cash, man.
They could
cash.
I would like that.
I like it a lot, but that is going to wrap up this Thursday night edition. No, I do not have any plays in yet. I'll see what I end up doing, but NFL has not been NFL has not been too kind to me. With that being said, NFL Turf Talk and DSM Media is proudly brought to you by our friends over at Gents Barber Lounge. Check out one of 2 great locations in Fishtown and Old City and book your appointment today. Gents owns the craft, and it shows. Rated the #1 barbershop on Yelp in the Philadelphia area, having multiple award-winning barbers and being able to handle any style of cut, adult or kid. Take a look at some of Gents' work. Check them out at jensbarberlounge.com to book your appointment today. Also, check out our friends at Luxon & Jewelers at shopluxon.com. Use promo code DSM at checkout for 25% off. Again, that is promo code DSM, all capital letters, at checkout for 25% off your total purchase, and they offer free shipping. Guys, check us all out on Twitter, all of our content daily at DSM_media on Twitter. The link tree is in our bio to take you to every social media platform we are available on. If you guys want to be interactive with the shows here on DSM, head on over to the YouTube channel specifically. Hit that subscribe button. We greatly appreciate it. It's free. Guys, there's content every day, multiple shows a day. Turf Talk is tonight. I'm about to go and do the Faithful Fanatic show with Paul Hembo. Me and Scotty are going to be doing Sixers pregame live all season long. Come join the ride with us. It's free. Hit that subscribe button. Like this video. We greatly appreciate it. For myself, for Scotty, for DSM Media, have a great rest of your night.
Peace.